Okay, so kicking off from where I left off. So I'm recording this video literally a minute after I started to get emotional. Just had to pick myself up there. Um, yeah, so there isn't really much to tell after that. I avoided any contact with him. The next big issue. Oh, by the way, um, the main reason I bought that gift was because not long before this, um, I met what I can only describe as the perfect woman. My wife, who is my wife now. That's another bit of anxiety. Sorry, no, she isn't the anxiety, just the situation we're in. I'll obviously go into more detail in the other chapters, but um, yeah, she's the perfect woman, and we've got a long distance relationship still. Years after, she's in America and I'm here. But anyway, not going into that. Um, Carry on with this. So there wasn't. So she's the one who can't remember whether she said it to me direct or whether it was my own idea. I really honestly can't remember at this point. But she was my inspiration for trying, because I learnt the hard way that, and this is where trust issues come into it for the rest of my life. You can't really, with the exception of my wife, trust anyone. Not 100%. I mean, okay, there are friends that the people who I know now who I know they won't knowingly hurt me. Again, story for another time. So, not much happened, but it was more what other people did in relation to this situation. Now, I still asked for help. Again, there was a point where there was going to be a meeting that was arranged between me, him, my nan, one of my aunts, but that never materialised. Um, I think the next big event was after I asked my wife to marry me. We had what is known as a blessing ceremony. So it wasn't anything formal. The main reason for it was really for my nan, my grandmother. Everyone else that was there, and I am going to back this up by sorry. I am going to back this up by saying I am so grateful for everyone that turned up. No, I genuinely am. I'm so happy that there was a good turnout. It was actually a really nice day. Weather held up. It was in the winter, but it was that nice, crisp morning weather. Not a cloud in the sky. It was just nice. Cold, but really, really nice. And yeah, I think there was everyone from pretty much every aspect of my life in there. Not everyone turned up. Probably half the people I invited, but when you do an event of any kind, you don't expect all the people that you invite to turn up. So there was a certain amount of seats. You invite more than there are, and you expect most of the seats to be taken up, which they were. To be fair, a lot of people turned up. A lot. People from my current work, friends I knew outside work, quite a bit of my family. Um, yeah. I'm going to say link in the description because I think I still have the blessing on one of my other channels, my personal channels. So I'll dig that up and I might include that in my next video. So anyway, because honestly I don't know where it is right now, I'd have to look for it. But yeah, the next video will hit upon that, and I'll be able to say at the start of it, take a look at the link below and then you can have a look. Okay, but anyway, it wasn't the blessing itself, it was what happened before it. So getting it organised, getting the money sorted, the venue was sorted out, really nice place. It was I can't remember the exact type of church it was. I think it was something like a unity church where any faith can have a ceremony or some kind of function there. Look, it was a church, so it wasn't a mosque or it wasn't a temple or anything like that. It was a church, but anyone, any faith can do what they like there, okay? It was really nice. Actually, kind of wish that was the wedding, if I'm going to be honest. Which, again, another thing I'll get to. Stop procrastinating, Nigel. Get to the point. So the uncle that I actually lived with, it wasn't the uncle that accused me of the watches. It was the uncle that drove. He has a very, I like to say dry sense of humour, but it was more like he took the piss out of everyone. And as a kid, he had to take certain stuff from me. Like if he could dish it, he could take it. We got into play fights sometimes, and most of our bonding came from Star Trek, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I really enjoyed watching shows with him and going to the movies, because there are quite a few times where we just went alone to the movies. I really loved that. Me and him, we bonded mostly over media and being able to talk about it. And okay, there were times where because I went along with my aunt, we used to drop her off, and on the way back, there was this store that had one of these games. You put the money in, you play game, and it was, at the time, this is how old it was. It was an arcade Street Fighter 2. Like, I loved it. And look, I don't know whether it was my family not knowing the situation. I think it would be naive to say that they didn't, but benefit of the doubt if they didn't know. But they did. They freaking well did. Everyone did. They had to. Bloody well had to. But the thing is, because of what happened, I was segregated from my family. So anytime he was over, he was there. Of course he was there if he was over. Anytime anyone else was over, he would be there. Any functions like birthdays and stuff. I miss my grandmother's birthdays. There was a function where, because I was that timid, that stressed out, that anxious about going to my grandmother's birthday, I think it was even a 60th or something, 70th, 80th, I can't remember now. My own head wouldn't let me go, because he was there with his kid, with her. So my point is that everyone basically was around him a lot, and no one was around me. Again, another form of abuse. Safeguarding. I wish I'd known about safeguarding back then. So anyway, because of this, I invited a lot of the family. Not all the family, bear in mind. I invited my nan. At this point in my next video, at this point, my grandfather, I believe, had passed away. I think. You see, this is so long ago. I can't remember. I can't remember if my granddad was still alive or not. It was either he had gone by then, or he was not well enough. But I think it was the case that the main reason for me doing it was the fact that I was going to be getting married in America, and because my nan was frail and whatever else was happening with her, she wouldn't have been able to make it. So I wanted to do an event where she could see her grandson get married, but not. But I want it was for her. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for my wife. Not for my family or friends. Anyone. Because anyone else could have made it if they wanted to. No one did. One person turned up for my actual wedding from England, and I thank you for that. Again, another video. So I invited a lot of the family. There was quite a good amount that I didn't, because I didn't really have any contact with them, but I invited who I did. Like my great uncle Keith, who was a black belt karate instructor, and because of that, I spent a lot of time with him. So people like that, yeah. I didn't invite him. Did not invite him or the kid. Again, comments below. Do you agree with that? Knowing what I've been going through. So the uncle that I lived with, who I still spoke to, got on to a point. He was very much, if he said something to you and you didn't comply in the slightest bit, he'd go off on you. He'd go on a tangent and be like, bloody hell, just do it. Shut up and just do it. Again, another video. I was going through the itinerary for the blessing with people that were there. He wasn't there at the time, thank God, but there was people who I could get along with. One of my other uncles was there who, oh my God, I loved him. Didn't hang out with him as much as the others, but he was a nice chap. Enjoyed the drink a bit too much. He had his own problems, which everyone does. I can't judge. I'd never judge anyone for their own problems. I only react, and my view is coloured by the way that they treat me, which everyone should think that way. Their problems, if someone's an alcoholic or if someone has anger issues or whatever, just as long as they're not taking it out on me, I don't judge. Obviously there are extreme cases, like if he's beating his wife or something, which he wasn't, just disclaimer, he wasn't. But no, he was fine. He was fine. It's the kind of guy you can go out and have a pint with. Anyway, just going through him, his missus, his daughter, what I was thinking of doing, where the venue was, and I give them, I think at that point I give them the official invite in an envelope. And my uncle, as he was doing other stuff, he actually walked out of the room immediately after. Not as a storm off type of thing, but he walked out. I stormed off after what he said. So I'll give people the invite. And then he asked, "Are you inviting him?" As in that W uncle. "Are you inviting him?" I says, "No. Why would I?" He says, "Alright then, if you're not inviting him, I'm not going." I don't know what the point of that was. Later on, he says that he'd take my grandmother, but he wasn't hanging around. Really? Frickin' really? Okay. That says everything. Another uncle lost. And he was lost to me by then. I mean, if he wanted to hang out and stuff, I would, but it's not my family anymore. After knowing all of what's going on, why the heck? Why? Why the hell? I didn't invite him. I stormed off, went to my room and started banging around because I just couldn't believe what I heard. So angry, red, raw, angry. So, just to stop this story now, because there isn't really much else to tell other than the effects it had later in life, which is what the other chapters are for. So, the situation kept on. He broke up with his missus. He took my room because I'd moved out for a little bit. Came back and he took my room. I moved into the front room of the house, next to the front door. And there was a point where I went into the room that used to be mine that he was in when he was away once. I didn't put a DVD back where it should have been. He confronted about me and then he shouted, "Don't ever go in my room again." Which, considering history, fine, I get that. But he was again saying, "Don't use attitude with me," when I wasn't. I told my grandparents about this. They said, yeah, it was a stupid thing to do, which it was, I get that. But for a kid who just wanted a little bit of normality back, I just wanted my room back for a minute. Eventually moved out again. I got my room back, got back into the same situation that I couldn't leave it. Urine battles, urine battles, urine battles. Eventually I moved out. And the thing is, I did visit every so often, just to see my nan. But then I got so anxious about when he was going to be over, because it was a case that he would be over every other week or so at that point. Sorry, I keep knocking the camera. He'll be over every other week, and I had to ask, is he there? Is he there? But there come a point where I can't deal with this anymore. I can't have this situation keep going on in my life. And I stopped. And after a few bottles of wine, I'm talking a good 3 bottles of Echo Falls, I called my nan and told her that I couldn't come over or see her or see anyone. Just like that, I cut everyone off. And I had no family other than family that I make. No family, no relatives, nothing. It was just me and whatever situation I'm in. And my wife. Because of 2 damn watches that I didn't take, I don't have any family anymore. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening to this chapter. Story will continue in part 5.